Hi, I'm Deborah Manfrey, and you tuned in to Financially Fit. On my show, we talk all things mindset, finance, and fitness. And the best part, I get to do it with the people I love. You're watching Financially Fit. Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Financially Fit. I'm your host, Deborah Manfrey, and today I have a very special guest that I'm so excited to introduce her. We met at a retreat, Dr. Joe Dispenza's retreat, and we instantly connected. We couldn't stop talking. So as we start a conversation, I find out she was a mindset coach, and we're in the same line of work. And I was like, listen, we have to keep in touch. And today we decided to talk about our experience, about this amazing 7-day retreat. With that being said, I would like to introduce you to Sabrina Weibel. Hi, Sabrina.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me on. And I'm really pumped to talk about our experience at the event because of how insane it was.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. And I was like, people want to know. They need to know. They need to hear more details because I think everyone that goes in there has a very unique experience.
Yeah, so my name's Sabrina. I'm a mindset coach. I specifically help creatives, dreamers, and entrepreneurs train their minds to turn their dreams into their real daily lives. And I've been in this line of work I've been studying this work for about like 5 years now. And I really got into Dr. Joe Dispenza, I'd say, when I first started getting into this work about 5 years ago. And I just fell in love with his work, in love with the way that he brings the science into everything. And so about just to bring this into how I got into Dr. Joe, I been studying his work for, like I said, about the past 5 years. And I would say like 8 months ago or so, I remember being in like a half awake, half asleep state. I'm waking up for my day and I just see the words come across my mind of encephalon, encephalon, encephalon. And I'm like, I'm half asleep, half awake. And I'm like, what does this mean? Like, what even is this word? And I'm like, is this an instrument or something? What even is this? And it was so profound where I woke up, I ended up getting out of bed and texted my friends. I was like, this is so weird, isn't it? And they were like, oh, it is weird. And I just like blew it off. A couple days later, I see an email come up on my phone that says, the Encephalon team come to Dr. Joe Dispenza's event. And I was like, no way.
What a
I've got to
sign.
go to his event.
What
What
a
a
sign.
sign. So I was like, I'm getting into the next event that he has. And that was the event that we went to.
Yes. And I got into his work like about 2 years ago, not so, as long as you, and I started practicing his meditation and I fell in love with it, and I instantly started having changes on my mindset, and I was like, I love his work, but I went on to do other things, other practices, and I left behind. And then one of my friends, actually 3 friends, they're like sharing their experience, and I was like, this is so amazing that I wanted to join. Just listening to someone sharing on the podcast their experiences, I was like, I need to be there. And I felt like that connection, that intuition feeling, like I need to just be in the next event. And the next one was in Marco Island, and I was like, I wasn't able to make it until the one that we finally went. So glad you listened to your intuition because it was the most like transformative experience for me. So how was your first day?
So the first few days were actually really tough for me. I have been meditating for the past like 5 years, but I'd say for the past 6 months prior to the event, I hadn't practiced meditation. I was just practicing different mindful practices, and meditation specifically wasn't a part of my routine. And so getting back into those meditations were like probably at least like 2 hours long each. And we were meditating so much where I felt all of the emotions that my body has been on autopilot and habitually feeling. I felt all of those emotions come to the surface, all of the stress, the frustration, the impatience, because I'm a big, like, high achiever. And so I can be hard on myself when I set these high expectations for myself. And so in turn, for the past however long, I've been feeling these emotions. And I was aware that I was feeling the stress, the frustration, but I didn't realize how bad it was until I was faced with it head on in those meditations. And the first few days, like I would just feel them come up so much. And I can hear the people around me having the spiritual experiences. They'd be talking about like, oh, like this meditation was so good. How was it for you? And like I wouldn't even want to talk about it. I'm like, man, that was tough. That was hard. Everybody else is having these great spiritual experiences, and I'm over there with my eye mask on, and my tears are welling up in my eye mask because I'm feeling all of this frustration and stress and like impatience just I'm just feeling it head on. But it was so great. It was so transformative for me to feel that because it was coming up anytime, every time that it would come up and I'd be forced to sit through the meditation, I would breathe through it. I would regulate myself through it and I'd feel it go away. And then it would come up again and I would feel it go away. And eventually, after it kept coming up and I kept breathing through it and working through it, it stopped coming up. And then after those first few days, I was able to drop into this deep spiritual experience through the other meditations. But those first few days were particularly tough, specifically for me.
That's interesting because going there without, I remember when you told me I haven't been meditating for 6 months and I'm here, and I was like, what? Because I've been meditating regularly for the past 2 years. So I didn't have, you see, that's so interesting because I didn't have the experience that you had. I was right in through it. Like when I woke up from the first meditation, 6 a.m. meditation, I look at my clock, it was 2.5 hours, and it felt like it was 5 minutes to me. I was like, this was the most, because I was having those experiences. I was going right into it because I meditated for 2 years. So it was just kind of pushing a little bit further, but I was comfortable because I think my mind was already used to some of it. And I met people that like you that never meditated, like some people never meditated, and they were at the event. They were called, they felt the pull, and they were at the event. And I was like, how you doing? And they're like, oh, this is rough. And I was like, I can't even imagine. If you have not been meditating for a little bit, it's going to be a lot of emotions. But I'm glad you pushed through it, and you got to have those amazing experiences that I can't wait to talk about it because first day for me, it was deep. And every day kept getting better and better and better. And I'm like, how can it get better? Because I was releasing so much, like that I was like, how, like I wasn't thinking like tomorrow is going to be better than today. I was just experiencing. I didn't know what was going to get into it because they keep it like that, which I love it. It's just every day is a different schedule, meditation. You really not knowing, like there's no time. So what was the most wild experience you had that like in a way that I know that's it's like because it's so many.
There's so many, and I feel like for me, the first thing that comes to mind, there's multiple stories that come to mind when you say what was the most like transformative or powerful or just wild experience, but it was the same for me where every day just kept getting more and more profound. And on day 7, right, is when we did the body electric
Oh yes, the last day.
meditations. And I would say that was the most transformative for me. I remember I wasn't even 100% sure like the purpose of it was day 7. We were all sleep deprived. We all were like in a
Yes.
whole nother universe in this during this retreat. And
The
like
energy in the room was
some
just like so strong.
the energy in the room was so strong. And I remember him talking about this electric meditation, and he even said before like this has the potential to change your life. And I remember thinking in my head like I'm not even 100% sure why exactly like the purpose behind this meditation. Like I was also like a little bit out of it just from being so sleep deprived, but I was like okay, like let's get into it. And it was like the 30 minutes of inside meditation, and then we went to like an hour and a half-ish meditation walking outside, like a walking meditation where you're basically in a trance while you're walking and having all of these experiences. And basically this meditation was when we are, and you might be able to help me explain it because I'm still wrapping my mind around it, but we basically call in electric energy through each of our energy centers.
Yes. And you feel them.
You feel them. And it's just so crazy because I remember, side note, I'm talking about this. experience to some like common day people who aren't really in this world. And they're like, oh, like it's just meditation. And I'm like, this is not just meditation. Like we are doing things in these meditations. Like these meditations are like so profound that the energy that you're moving inside of you, like you feel like a whole different person. This isn't just a
You
sit
feel
down,
the
you're closing
healing.
your eyes and you're, yeah. I'm like, this isn't like, it's almost a disgrace to like, this isn't like normal meditation.
And I think
So,
being all
and
together in the room, like we had a little over 2,000 people together.
mhm,
It, I think everything is just in person. It just adds to it, to the experience. I love the
mhm.
electric body meditation. I actually did it
Yeah.
outside.
Wow.
I missed the
I've
time.
been, yeah, yeah, you were saying that. Um, I, for that meditation for me, it was particularly powerful for me because I don't think I was expecting much. And I know he talks about that too. Like, don't expect things to happen. And when you go into things with no expectation, that's when the most profound things happen. And that wasn't my intention, but I genuinely had no expectations because I was genuinely a little confused of like what exactly we were doing, like why we were calling this electricity into our body. And we go out there and we call in, right? It's Dr. Joe's guided meditation around our ears when we go out to the walking portion of the meditation and we're calling in the electricity to our different energy centers. And my body, like, right, we start at the energy center one, which is kind of like where your pelvic bone is and all the way down, and we start calling them all the way up. And my body starts to like viciously shake, like uncontrollably shake. And as we get higher and higher of the energy centers going up the body, my body starts to shake more to where my feet started to pop off the ground because my body was shaking so much because I was standing there and like I could barely even stand because my body's shaking so much and it's just full of this, like even though it wasn't in my conscious control, I felt very safe and I felt very light and I felt really good. And my whole body's just viciously shaking. And I just know if you're like a bystander looking at me, you would be like, what in the world? Like this girl looks crazy because I was shaking so much. And one of the employees actually put her hand on my shoulder just to let her know like she was here, just as like a comfort, which was sweet. And we get into the walking portion of it and I'm able to like calm my body down. All of a sudden, it's just whoosh. Like my body, I feel like I'm floating. I'm walking and I feel like I'm floating. And this like electric energy kind of settles in my body. And I feel the lightest that I have ever felt in my entire life. I just start bawling of like happy, like joyous gratitude tears, like tears streaming down my face. Like it's just nonstop. And then I look up and it's like, when you get a little dizzy and you start to see like, or you like put your head down and you start to see like little stars in the sky. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's what I started to see just all over it. I felt like I was able to literally see different energy forms because of how high vibrational I was. I was like seeing these little like stars, I guess you would call them, all in the sky. And they just stayed there. And I was able to like look at them and see them. And I just felt so light and I'm bawling my eyes out. And I'm looking and I see the like because there's trees and the lake and everything outside and I just see everything visibly within a second get crisper, like my vision visibly got
Yeah.
clearer in like a second. And it's funny because I take some of my clients through like these deep inner healing practices and they always tell me like, oh my God, Sabrina, I feel like I'm seeing clearer, I feel like I'm hearing better, like their senses visibly like significantly get stronger when they do these deeper healing practices and like raise their vibration. And that's what I felt like happened to me in that real time. And I could visibly, with my eyes open, see my eyesight getting better. And I was like, whoa, I am seeing every tiny little detail on this tree, on the leaves. Like I can see everything right now. And that was just, I have never felt the same since.
Yeah, and it's the elevated emotions, right? You're feeling joy, gratitude, happiness, like you're crying of just happiness. That's what I felt. And as you speaking of that, just seeing better in the coherence healing, I had the most
Mm,
profound and beautiful experience. For me, was one of my favorite the healing, coherent healing was very beautiful for me. As we walk, as we open our heart in that room, I had the most like just seeing vision. Like I saw, as I was just waiting to getting my heart open to heal that person that was laying the first night. I remember just standing up with my hands in my heart like this and just very relaxed and feeling this love like flowing through my heart. And then I was seeing that my husband was right in front of me. I had the most healing experience. And he would come, just talking makes me want to cry because it was so deep healing because there were so many walls that I never realized that still were there. And he
Mm-hmm.
would walk, like was walking towards me, and those walls, it were falling down. And it was the most like profound and beautiful experience. And then he walked into my heart. And as he walked into my heart, all I could hear it was like, "Our love is infinite. Our love is infinite," and I cried and cried and cried. It was just like, and then we became one. This is the wow. It's like we became one. As we became one, I saw like an extension of the two of us, and that was my son. And that's exactly what I saw. Like, because I used to love my son and I love my husband. Like, I love, my kids and my husband. And I just heard that, like, he's an extension of you and him. So, like, after that, I had the most transformative healing. Like, our love, our family, it's just deep and, like, it's almost like we're always one, but it's just deeper. And with my
Mm-hmm.
son, it's like, yeah, he's an extension of him. Like I love him, but my love for my husband, it's so much like, it's just different. It's an extension. It
Mm-hmm.
just made me realize how many walls I had it still of protection to allow him in to heal that in my marriage. So the coherence healing. And then after that, we healed. And my first coherence healing was an older lady, like 70s, late 70s, and she was blind of eyesight for like about 5, 6 years. And when she woke up and she took the mask off, I start crying because she reminded my grandmother, like just the blonde hair, the light eyes, this white skin. And then she looked at me and she just, the excitement when they hear, right? She's like, "I can see you. I can see," and I didn't know what she was laying there to heal for. And she was like, "I had lost my eyesight. Now I can see." And she kept checking, like, I can see, right instantly there. And then I start crying because I was like, this really works. So
Wow.
it was very profound. And it's just many experiences I had. And I think that if for people that never had the chance to go or never look into his work, it is very deep and transformative. It has allowed me to heal so much. I can't wait to go to the to the next one. Definitely next year.
I know. I know I'm already like, I need to go again. I need to experience this again. This was absolutely insane. I think I met a woman there. What did she say? It was something crazy number. It was her 13th retreat,
Yeah.
something along those lines. And it's like when you go once and you get the experiences of feeling just, for me, just genuinely so high off life. It's like
Yeah.
the circumstances I'm in, like it doesn't even matter the circumstances that I'm in. I feel like this is like the solution to all my problems. So like experiencing this such a high level of just excitement for life itself and like finding gratitude in so much of the tiniest things
Yes.
where I'm like I need to experience this again. This was so profound.
And just the love that you feel. And I love when he says love heals
Mhm.
all. And it does. It
It
does.
does.
It does,
Hmm.
because watching that older lady being healed from eyesight, and we're just loving, we're just sending that frequency of love, which is one of the highest frequencies. So it was just amazing. So you still meditating since you got home?
Yes. Yes, I've still been meditating. I've been meditating almost every single day now, always a one of the many of the Dr. Joe meditations. And it's really just kept me in this really amazing state. Like I will never return to who I was before. I
Me
feel
neither.
forever changed.
I feel the same way. I can never go back. It was so much healing. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming in today and sharing about our experiences. I wanted to let people know how can they find you if they want to know about your work. Sabrina is a mindset coach. She's amazing.
Yeah, so you can find me I'm primarily on YouTube. You can find me at Better You by Sabrina. My full name is Sabrina Weibel. And I'm also on Instagram, Better You by Sabrina as well. I have a 5-day mind training boot camp. If you wanted to get a little bit into my world, we can leave the links for those
Yes.
below. And that's if you wanted to learn a little bit more about me, what I do, get a little bit into my world, that's where you can find me at.
Yes. Thank you so much, Sabrina, for coming in today and sharing a little bit of our experience. See you soon.
Thank you so much for having me on. Thank you.